Hi, welcome to Tarot Combos, where we draw two cards. Okay, so today is a full moon, I think. It's February 1st. The moon is very big in the sky, so guess what we're using? Zodiac Tarot. I love to pull these out when stuff's happening up there. Stuff's always happening up there. So let's see what's with us today. Thank you for being here. Okay. Knight of Pentacles, challenged by, oh, the Six of Pentacles. This almost feels like, shoot, there was a thought that immediately came about like this tug of war sometimes between like oh God, how do I want to say this? I see it in my mind. It's not even that. I just feel, it's like a feeling. Sometimes there's a tug of war between not just what we want to do, you know, for ourselves, because it's not about selfishness. So let's just say, put a pin in that, because I don't know how to describe it yet. I'm describing it in the the absence of what it is. So it's like our own volition. Is that the word? To like do something that we want to do. Let's just leave it at that for a moment, because the words aren't right. Versus like what we might do with others in the forefront of our mind. So that's one thing, is like what is that tug of war, or like the friction or tension we sometimes feel with like, well, here's the path I would love to go, and yet I know I also feel called to walk a slightly different path for the sake and on behalf of others. That's one way to think about it. Man, it's hard to describe the exact feeling, because it's, to me, this isn't about selfishness, and it's not about something being taken away from just because you're thinking about others. So it's not like a lack sort of feeling. It's like I'm describing this in the like by what it's not, which it's like, oh, can be frustrating. Although I was thinking about this just yesterday, about how sometimes with this stuff that's like such a direct felt experience, sometimes the best way to describe it is by what it's not, because then people kind of triangulate their own feeling through what it's not. Because if you say what it is and they haven't felt that feeling, then there might lead to more confusion. So I have been thinking about that. I was like, yesterday, I was like, oh, that's so cool to describe things as what it's not. And then like the isness of that thing emerges. Like, that's why I said triangulation. It's like, it's not that, or that. So what comes up in the middle is like what it is for that person who you're describing something to. So I think about that quite often, because I do think it is helpful to describe things sometimes in what it's not, for that very reason. So whatever emerges out of the antithesis, I guess, of what I said, there you go. But anyway, there's the Six of Pentacles. There's like this idea of reciprocity, of maybe like, you know how, but to me, there's this energetic feeling in this of like, what I put out into the world is what comes back. You know, some people might call it karma. Some people call, like, there's an energy balance sort of feeling in this, where you like, and it's not just about do good works, then you're blessed. It's not about that. Or do bad, oh, karma's a bitch, gonna get you. It's not about that. knots. So, but there is some sort of like be the change you want to see in the world sort of vibe here. And it's like you do that not just for yourself, but like the change you want to see is like, I'm going to contribute in some small way to like what I like, the energy I want to feel around me when I move through the world. And if I can just put a little bit of that out there, I will feel it come back to me. And I trust, it's more like a trust, because things aren't necessarily immediate, but it's like being in that state that some people say, be in that vibration, whatever. Then that's what you experience in the world, right? Because you are embodying that state. So like, that's what you see. How you feel on the inside is what you witness on the outside. There's some of that in here too. And then the Knight of Pentacles is like taking like deliberate, steady, consistent action toward that thing you want to see in the world. Right? So it's like that trust element of like showing up every day and just doing a little bit without any expectation of what you might receive in the end, or like putting such a big expectation on how the world should look, because you'll always be frustrated that we're not there yet. So that's something to be mindful of, is that we're not there yet feeling, because this is all about showing up every day to like, be the change you want to see in the world. I don't know how else to say it, but like, be that energy, put it out there, because if you see a lack and you're also not putting out the thing you want to see, you'll always feel lack. When you show up and put out joy, love, peace, compassion, abundance mindset, sure enough, there it is. You witness it in all ways, all different kinds of ways. So this feels like the challenge here would be, if I'm not doing that and I still expect, like there's expectation showing up here, like the are we there yet, mentality of like, God, I'll never see this peace in my lifetime. It's like, when you show up every day and be the peace you want to see in the world, for example, you feel it, you see it, you witness it everywhere. Maybe not always. We all have those moments of like, are we there yet? So I think that's the challenge for us, is like, can you show up today? And there is sort of this like, take the day as it comes energy here. So it's like, don't think too far ahead in this, because the Knight of Pentacles is very slow, steady, deliberate, consistent action, without rushing, without saying, are we there yet, without expectation about what's coming, because this guy knows, like, I know how this works. It's the showing up every day is how it works. Showing up without expectation, but doing the good work day by day without expectation. And this is what comes around goes around. I don't like that phrase, but that's the energy is here. And there's also this energy of like, there's such a trust element in the way that this works in the universe. This energy that you put out can, how the laws of thermodynamics, I love to talk about that, because I don't know it very well, but I love to pretend that I do. Like, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It just changes forms, right? It just changes form. So when you put out an energy, you trust that it will be utilized in the way the universe wants to utilize it. So you don't say, well, I'm going to do this thing for this person, and it will have the effect for them that I expect that it's going to have. So I'm going to do this good deed for them, for this purpose, and then I expect them to receive this benefit from it. No. Like, especially like you're lending money and then you say, man, they didn't use it for what I told. It's like, oh God, this is so cringe. I say that word a lot lately, don't I? When you've heard people say, like I've heard this before, I don't know where, but it's been in the world, where people are like, well, why should I give a homeless person money because they'll just do drugs, and I can't give them enough to like pay their rent, or I can't give them enough to like buy a suit to get a job interview. Like there's that sort of like expectation. People are like, if I'm gonna give you money, because there's some element of altruism in there, is that the word? And yet we place an expectation on how that money should be used or not used. And it's like, then don't give the money, or give it and let go. Don't expect. So that's just like an example, but I wasn't even thinking about that here. But there is that, like, do the thing without expectation. Do it from like wherever that comes from within us, right? Out of love, compassion, joy, fun. Like sometimes it's fun to just be generous for no reason. And like no expectation. That's the cringy part, isn't it? It's like, well, I'm gonna be good, and I want you to know I'm being good, so and I expect you to use it this way, and that because it's all about me and what I want the outcome to be. So anyway, those are just some examples about what this is not. This is like that when I was saying like the laws of thermodynamics, it's like the trust element in this is I'm going to put something out there and just trust it will go to where it needs to go, get used in the way that it needs to get used, and I'm done letting go. I'm giving because I want to. I can. And there's something in me that just like wants to, without regard for anything else. So anyway, I guess the question would be, where might expectation be showing up in the way that we, because I know I've had it also, where might expectation be showing up in the way that we give of ourselves, or the way that we expect something to go with how we put our energy out into the world, or even just in our own bubble, our own sphere. Because like how I use my energy, where I think it's just going for what I want, for me only, and I think, okay, well, this doesn't impact anyone else, but I'm using my day in this way. I'm using this hour in this way. And then what might expectation be doing to that, to that energy? It's like, for example, with creativity, I think about this a lot, because I would love, like, so much when I'm like, oh, I'm carving out some time to be creative, immediately it squashes. I think it puts a cap or a limit in some way of like where it will lead, because I've already had this notion that I'm time boxing it. And don't get me wrong, I think there's some utility in time boxing things, like, to say, yeah, I will use this chunk of time in this way. But the way my head works, because I've been very time obsessed, that's another thing I'm working on. It's just like, be in the present moment, dude. Time doesn't exist. It's like, immediately, it kind of squashes my creativity, because then I'm like, oh God, I got to squirt something out in an hour. Squirt was such a bad word to use there. But you know what I mean? So it's like, think about this in terms of like the energy you put into something. Where does expectation limit it in some way? It's like we get in our own way, kind of an energy here. Okay, that's it. Because this has me going down so many paths, but it all kind of relates to that one question. So where does that show up in your life? For me, I gave you an example. To me, it's always been about creativity, and like I have so many hobbies, and like I just love to play with things. Like you should see. Oh my God! Here's an example. I'm in my studio at home, and this is what's going on my floor right now. Because the other day, it was kind of an emotional day with what's going on with my mom in the hospital. And this was like, I think right before she went back in and we knew she was having a hard time. I forget what day, but then I just got out so many art supplies, and like, I don't even know what's going on with this. It's like, what is that? What is that? I don't even know if you can see what I was pointing at, but there's this like stuff going on over here. And to me, that was an example where I did sort of have this time, like a little sliver of time. And that's when I caught myself, because I've been like trying to work on this, like to like break open my creativity. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start pulling out art supplies, and like, I don't even know where I'm going. I'm just going to like grab the thing that says yes to me. And if I reach for something and it doesn't, it's just like meh, then I'll just like look for something else. And so then, yeah, this happened. I don't even know what it is. It's like foil that I put cheesecloth on with Mod Podge glue. And then I started layering it. It might be some mushroom thing happening, and then I'll paint it maybe. I have no idea what's happening, but it was fun. And so I was like, oh, something broke open there a little bit. Like, so that's where I'm still trying not to put expectation on, but I did. I said the word mushroom. I don't need to describe it. So I'm just showing you my madness here in case that helps, like, you identify if this is showing up in your life at all, and how might you break free of expectation setting. Because I've also been hearing that somebody I watch on a podcast, she talks about how, and I think I mentioned this, expectation is she says always, so I don't know, whatever, but she says is related to victimhood, like the victim mentality. I think that's what she said. So it's like we place an expectation on something, and I'm still trying to like really feel into what she means by that. I have this intuitive sense. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so true. And my mind wants to get involved in like describe it and say this and why. Yeah. So that's where I'm like, oh, I really need to look at all the times I'm placing expectation on how something should go, or how something should look, or how it should feel, you know, for myself and for other people. And it's true. I feel like every time I catch myself, I'm like, oh my God, I just put so many limits on something. And when I think about victimhood, maybe and here's my mind doing its thing, trying to figure it out. Maybe it's like everything goes back to protection, doesn't it? So like early traumas, it's like I have to, like, the hypervigilance thing, I have to make sure my surroundings are safe. So I have to, like, you know, you're always trying to expect how things are going to go so you can prepare for eventual outcomes. It's all about preparation in the service of safety. And so it's like expectation setting. Even back to the money example, it's like I expect them to use it this way because then I can know the outcome of something and I'll feel good and safe and that it went that way. Because if anything deters or changes, then I'm like, oh God, I didn't expect that. And what might go wrong? I don't know. It's like the unknown of it feels scary. So yeah, that's kind of like expectation really is about at a point maybe where you felt the victim, and then we have all these like dysfunctional behaviors that are all about the follow-on of the early trauma or situation or conditioning. So where does that show up for you? Sorry this was so long. I could have summed it up so quickly, I bet. Oh well. Bye.